press the button.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody to our Prince of Wales parent workshop on therapeutic thinking. So it comes with a bit of a disclaimer first. We're not here to tell you or support you with your parenting at home. You know, we were saying this morning, we still struggle to get our children off the iPads and get them into bed on time and those sorts of things. So today is very much about how we approach behaviour in school, but obviously lots of the things that we do at school you can be doing at home as well. It's just good practice, really. All right. So, what is therapeutic thinking? Therapeutic thinking is an approach to behaviour that prioritises the pro-social feelings of everyone within the dynamic, and that really just means, you know, recognising behaviours with everyone within our school,
and not talking as a behaviour as a negative in general. So when we say behaviour, usually everyone's like, oh, they've been naughty, and we're trying to come away from that use of the word naughty and bad, because it shouldn't be that negative association with the word behaviour, because we're talking about all behaviours, and we want children to understand those positive and negative behaviours that they have.
So we've done lots of training in school. Our staff are highly trained. We want staff to do as many different training, as much training as they can, so that we're well informed. Becky and I have undertaken the therapeutic training, so we did that. Actually, we did that well over two years ago now. And Becky started the school on that pathway of therapeutic thinking. And then when I came to the school, we took it on together. So we did 3 days of training, followed by follow-ups, and we have a network meeting that we attend, and that just keeps us up to date with current thinking, current practice, because obviously, you know, particularly in education, things change all the time. You know, a new study will come along and people say, oh, actually we were thinking about it this way, but now actually we think the right thing is to do it this way. So we attend that training to make sure that we're up to date with current thinking. And then aside from that, our staff do lots of SEND training. You can see there's a list of lots of things there that we've done over the last sort of 12 months or so. So that's, like I say, it's just current up-to-date training to make sure that we know that our practice is up to date, really.
So this is our kind of motto, like we use quite a lot. So you can't teach children to behave better by making them feel worse. So when children feel better, they behave better. And that's what we've really got to bring it back to. That actually when they might be in the moment where they are dysregulated, we can't make them feel better and calm down by making them feel worse and making them feel like they are naughty. And that's why we really, really, just really want to come away from that they are naughty. There's a reason behind the behaviour, and that's what therapeutic thinking tries to unpick. What is that reason, and how can we help them to kind of overcome that and kind of be calm again? So we're thinking about helpful feelings for ourselves and others, and behaviour that is positive and helpful and intended to promote social acceptance, and the characteristics by a concern for the rights, feelings and welfare of others. So it's the behaviour that they show, but how they are with others as well. We do a lot of that within the school, and we have special weeks that we focus on it, but we actually focus on it every week because we have an assembly every week that links to it, and I know you're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
And I guess one of the keys is it's going back to that positive behaviour all the time. You know, we look for, you know, the positives. You know, even when the negatives might be popping up at you, you're looking for those positives all the time, because it's about embedding that thought in children, isn't it? That I am a good person. You know, I can behave in a positive way, and when I do, I'm really praised for it. You know, children want they want your attention, don't they? And they will get that in any way they can. And often negative behaviour can take up a lot of time, can't it? So some children will if they know they're going to get lots of attention from having that sort of negative behaviour, will lean towards that more. Whereas by moving to looking for the positives, you're almost retraining children's brains to go, oh, actually, I want some of that. If I make those right choices, I'm going to be praised for it, and I'm going to get that attention that I want in a positive way.
But it's us understanding it. Sometimes they can't make that choice. When they're in that moment and they're screaming on the floor, they're definitely not going to be like, oh yeah, right, I can do that for you. It's just not going to happen, is it? So it's just picking up those little positives when you can, and it might be the tiniest thing, but that little bit of praise, then they'll get used to that praise, and that's what we're really trying to do. We're really trying to use those kind of positive affirmations within school now, not dangling a carrot. So we're not, oh, if you do this, then you can have this, because that is short term. Okay, everyone does it. I'm just saying that. I do it. Everyone does it. But it's kind of building up that they want to do it, rather than they're going to do it because they get something. Otherwise, we're going to be spending a lot of money on things, and we don't want that. So it's positive language, praising the individuals on anything, praising the people near them as well, so they can be like, oh, I want to be like them. And focus on what they can do, not what they can't do and what they shouldn't be doing. It's focusing on the behaviour. So if it's a negative behaviour, you're saying about the behaviour, not saying them. You're not saying you're doing that. I don't like your behaviour. This is the behaviour. It's not them. Otherwise, they'll constantly feel that they're not doing what they should be, and they're not. No, their self-confidence will go plummet. So that's what we're trying to do here. And it's that behaviour that you see. So the behaviour that you see, how they're reacting to things, is like the iceberg model. And actually their feelings and needs, that's what we're really trying to focus in on. Thinking about, well, why has this happened? And giving them time to be able to reflect on that. So our therapeutic thinking approach is that you can't talk to the children when they're like that. So we give them the time, and we try to talk to everyone about that. So if there's a child in the class that they can obviously see is not dealing with that situation, we talk to the others and we say, we're working as a team. We know that we don't talk to these children when they're like that. We give them some time, and then afterwards we can talk to them about that when they're ready to hear. Because there's no point in you talking to someone when they're not ready, because they won't take it in, they won't remember it. And then when they're feeling they can talk, you can talk about it, and you can reflect and say, what should we do better next time? What can we do differently? How can we help you? And
those moments take place much later on in the day, often.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be the next day. So it's not always obvious to other children that those things are happening.
Yeah.
That it will be one-to-one time with a teacher or with another adult. Sometimes Mrs. Brooker will take children and just talk through, okay, what's happened, how can we change it, what can we do next time. It's unpicking those behaviours. Okay, this has happened, right, how do we ensure this doesn't happen again, or how can we make it better for you. And that takes time.
And I think it's important, although Mrs. Brooker is there and she's a brilliant resource to have, but actually our teams are amazing, and we're so close as a team, so we need to do it in our team as well, because we are the first point of contact for those children, and so we work really hard to do that and make sure that we kind of all are there, and that's why we have meetings every week with our team, and we can discuss anything that's come up.
The relationships between teachers and their class and those individual children are hugely important, aren't they? We recognise that as a staff, and that's why we believe that therapeutic thinking is the right approach to take.
Yeah. So you as parents you won't see this happening, and it's not always, we won't always share everything that happens with you in the day. If there's certain things that happen, we've spoken to them. We're not going to share that with you because we've dealt with it. So that anything major, obviously we will, but it's kind of day to day happening all the time. So we have that. So we're talking about the behaviours the conscious behaviours. So the behaviours there that are unwilling to moderate or self-regulate. So the ones that they know that they're doing. Sometimes you go, that they're doing that, but actually, if you take a step back, are they really doing it on purpose, or is there a reason behind it? And that's what the subconscious. So most behaviour in our school where we're thinking, this might be that we might have to do a certain plan for or support that child, is a subconscious behaviour. They're unable to regulate, and they're unable to self-regulate. So there's a reason behind it, and that's what we need to unpick and support.
I think that speaking from what I think about my own children, that you will probably see that at home as well. A lot of subconscious behaviour. When children are tired at home, it's that fallout, isn't it? They're not thinking, I'm going to, right, Mum looks really tired today, I'm going to go home and I'm going to really, I'm going to do something that I know is going to really annoy her. They're not thinking about that, are they? They're thinking about how they're feeling, they're tired, they've had a long week, and then they're home with you, they're in their safe place, and then that's it, isn't it? And that is a lot of that is subconscious behaviour, although sometimes it doesn't feel like it, especially when you're feeling tired and things yourself. So we see both sides of this at school and at home as well.
And a big thing for us is that just because they've done it once doesn't mean they can do it again. So just because they've been able to do that day, you can't then go to the next day and say, well, they did it yesterday. Because today's a new day, there's new situations, there's new people, there's new things going on. They might not be feeling very well, there's different things going on. So, and I think that's what and me at home, I've got to think, actually, just because she did that yesterday or last week, she's not ready to it today. So now I need to help her to do that. And that's what we're doing every day in school, just picking up on those children that actually need that a little bit of support for that.
So we talk to the children about this as well, about equity versus equality. So you can see the pictures quite clearly sort of define what it is. So giving everyone equality, being giving everyone the same experience, the same, with us in class, they're having the same teaching each day. But equity, obviously some children need different things. So you will see at school, if you were to walk through our classes, lots of our children have lots of different things.
Yeah.
They might be fiddle toys, it might be a bumpy sensory seat to sit on.
Or a chew.
Or a chew, or they have time away from the classroom where they can, we have sensory circuits in the morning. So there's lots of different experiences and lots of different resources for children that need that little bit extra to help them achieve the same goals as everyone else in the class. And I think our children now, our children in the class recognise that a lot more. I think in the past lots of children would have said, well, why is so and so able to do that, or why has so and so got that thing and I haven't? I think we've done lots of talking to the children about the reasons behind that, and that we're all different. We all need different things to help us to do our best, really. So we've worked with the children a lot on looking at the difference between equality and equity.
And actually, as a school, we talk about neurodiverse children, and we unpick that, because actually in our classes we have a lot of children that are neurodiverse, and we celebrate that in our classes, and that's why this is so important, is making sure that everyone can access everything. And they're so good at talking about it. And actually, for them to grow up in a society, they're going to be so much more understanding of people around them, which is fantastic.
So our approach is, obviously, there are consequences in school. Our approach to the consequences are that all staff have, we on our lanyards we have a script, and that just supports us as staff to talk through with children in a consistent. Oh, that's the word I'm looking for. It is my age. I use the words occasionally. So I'm glad Becky's here. So we have the script. We have a de-escalation script. So it says things like, "Oh, I can see something has happened. I'm here to help." And we talk to the children in that way. And then we talk to them about reflecting on their behaviours and how we can support them to make things better. There are consequences in school, but they are tailored to the individuals. They're always linked to what has happened. So for example, if a child, I think the example we were given, weren't we, was if a child has, drawn on the wall, their consequence will be to go and wipe it off again. It won't be to not go on a school trip or not go out to play. So it's very much linked to what's happened.
And that there's always a reason. So we said about the reason behind behaviours, and this is why we always refresh our staff training. So we're keeping up together, and we remind ourselves about our tone of voice. Tone of voice is a major thing when we're talking about behaviour. When you're in that moment, it's that you've got to really think about your tone of voice, haven't you? Because if you respond in a way and then they're like, oh, you don't want that. So you've got to keep cool and calm, and that is the aim.
Yeah.
So that's the script there that we have on our lanyard there.
And I guess this takes it back to, it's those positive interactions that you have with those children, and that's about building relationship as well, isn't it? So things have gone wrong, but actually we recognise that with the child, and then we work through that together. And that's about having that trusting relationship between the individuals, and we work through it together, really. And some reasons that some of those detrimental behaviours occur is because they don't have the vocabulary to say, oh, I'm feeling like this, or this has annoyed me, or I didn't have breakfast this morning, or I didn't get enough sleep. Children, especially when they're very young, don't often recognise the reasons why they're feeling like this. They just do. They don't recognise the fact that they because they didn't get a good night's sleep means they're going to be actually really dysregulated the next day. And sometimes it's about how they feel about themselves, and again that comes from those positive interactions you have with your children at home and at school, making children feel that they're not naughty, and we're not reinforcing how they feel about themselves by how we talk about them to other people. So we have a behaviour curriculum of our own. A study not that long ago recently looked at behaviour in schools, and it said it's strongly correlated with their outcomes. Now we want to set the behaviour, that positive behaviour model, from day one, so they feel positive about themselves. So as they move up and they get to 15 and 20, they're able to think positively about themselves, that they are able to respond and be positive members of our communities, and that will set them in good stead for their further outcomes in life. So we have made a behaviour curriculum together. I think
is it on
next
there?
one on, yeah. It's on the I need to go to the tab. So there might be one more
This
slide
one?
actually. Yeah. So our behaviour curriculum revolves around three things: our learning powers, our choose kindness, which is our therapeutic thinking, and British values, and they all link to a positive behaviour model for our school, and we believe that by building these learning powers of respect, of resilience, of being resourceful, we've got a few more further down, we are preparing children for those positive interactions. We've got Riker, who's our new one. We've just introduced him to the children. That's about being able to communicate well with others.
And the differences in communication of different children, because we have children that are non-verbal as well, so it's about that, how we communicate.
So we use our learning powers with the children. We do that through assemblies. You might have things that come home that link to it as well. And we're building up those positive, we call them valued behaviours, throughout the school year. So they cover them, they look at all of them over the year, and then obviously by the time they get to year 4, they will know them inside out. Oh yes, it's Rhea, she's respectful, and I know what respect means, and I can model that.
They all know Reggie pretty well, because Reggie was our first one. So Reggie, the resilient tortoise, so they do talk about him quite a lot. So that's because he was our first.
Yeah.
So but no, every time, and we kind of make it. So when you see Mrs. March dressed up as something, so next time a tortoise.
I'm a bit concerned about the next one.
That's why, and it's just kind of making them so that they remember that. They're like, oh yeah, I remember when they were all butterflies, and we bring in the tortoise because we got tortoises. So we bring in the tortoises, so they'll remember Reggie because of the tortoise. We don't bring the spiders.
No, so we have the 3 aspects: the choose kindness, which is our therapeutic thinking, and again you can see just in here we plan in what we're going to talk to the children about, and some of the things that we talked about today: equity versus equality. We had one last week about what is kindness, what does that look like, and we've promoted that very much this week, and that feeds through into our praise assemblies quite often as well. And then linked in with that, we felt that the British values was all linked in with that. Liberty, tolerance, democracy, and making our children ready to be citizens of the world as they grow up.
Do you see there's one more slide in this one?